Welcome back, guys, to episode 2 of Conquering Your Dyslexia, or Conquering Your So-Called Disability. Now, in this episode, we can talk about how you can turn your dyslexia into your greatest gift. How you can turn this thing you think is a negative in your life because it's holding you back in schooling or in your environment, or people bullied you because of it. And how you can turn this thing that looks like a disability or looks negative and horrible, how you can turn that into a gift. Let me look in the camera, because I'm still getting used to this whole thing. It's a nice little camera, and it's not mine, I'm borrowing it. So, how you can turn your dyslexia into your greatest gift. Oh, it's too high, I think. Let me know in the comments what one you like better. I think that's how people say it. And yeah, subscribe, all this stuff. I hear people say it, I've never said it. But yeah, subscribe, follow, do all this stuff. So, if you're on the journey, if you don't care, don't follow, don't do anything. So, how you can turn your dyslexia into your greatest gift. This is a better camera angle. You can do this simply by realising that it's positive in your life. Simply by realising you got yourself here because of dyslexia, not despite of it. You got yourself here because of this thing. And how do I know this? Is that this step of realising that your dyslexia is a gift is the hardest step. This step is so challenging and it's so hard because it's not up here. Loads of people I used to say it was a gift before I believed it was a gift because people wanted me to say it. But realising that, this is what I can say, realising dyslexia is a gift is different than understanding it's a gift. Because realising it's a gift, you feel it in here, you feel it in your heart, there's emotion attached to it. But if you understand dyslexia is a gift, you understand it up here. There's no emotional attachment to it. And once you fully understand that, and realise dyslexia is a gift, you feel it in here, not up here. And I want you to get that in this one video. I want you to get that. Dyslexia is a gift. Because for myself, in my life, I hate dyslexia, and if you watch my video 1, you'll see my own story of how I conquered it and how I improved it 5 times more in 1 year, having little to no help compared to 8 years having the best help in the world, because I took responsibility for it, because I conquered it. But I want you to understand this video is that once I still conquered it, once I improved it, once I got my C in English and improved it 500%, I still hated it. Because I think it was something negative in my life. I thought it was a challenge that I have to go through. I thought it was a struggle that I had to endure, that it's going to be there for the rest of my life, and my life's going to be limited because of that. And yes, I can get things, but I have to work hard for them, but I'll still be limited, I'll still slow down. And I used to think about this quite a while. But I remember one day I was early in the morning doing something called the hour of power. I woke up at 3 a.m. in the morning. I did some crazy stuff. But when I was doing this stuff, I asked myself a question. It's like, why is my life so much more different than my friends? Because my friends couldn't wait to go home. No, couldn't wait till Friday to go out and drinking and partying, and can't remember the weekend because all the drinks they had. But I couldn't wait to go home at the end of every day and work on my network marketing business and work on my personal development. What's the difference between us? And I realised the difference was that I got obsessed with improving myself, they didn't. And because I got obsessed with improving myself, I wanted to maximise this one life I have, and they haven't got obsessed or have the same passions as me. That's why we're on 2 different paths in life. So, okay, that's fair. But why am I so much more obsessed with improving myself and they're not? And it was because, if you watch my other video, I saw this big massive guy, big broad shoulders, big croaky voice, spotty face, looks like he drinks, he doesn't. And he said to me, the only way to change your life is take responsibility for your life. And when he said those words to me, my whole life changed, because I realised ultimately I am the product of what I think or what I say or all these sort of things. And then I got myself here. And in order for me to get myself out of here, it's down to me, it's down to no one else. For me to improve, it's down to me, it's down to no one else. And since I heard that guy saying it, I got obsessed with him. His name's Tony Robbins, by the way. Absolute legend. Anyway, I've been following him, listened to a lot of stuff, went to a lot of seminars, done loads of stuff, and improved myself because I realised I had to. I realised ultimately I had to improve. But then when I was walking outside, it was still cold, pitch black, I asked myself a 4th question. And this question ultimately changed everything in my life. I asked myself, listen, why did I get obsessed with improving myself? And then when I asked that question, my whole emotion changed like that, and I started crying instantly, because instantly I knew that my life is so much more different than everyone else. what's Tony Robbins because I was in such a low point in my life because kids were bullying me. I had to start out. I recently went to school, didn't know anyone's name, and I was just feeling rubbish in school and out of school. And the reason why I felt rubbish was because I have dyslexia. People were bullying was because I had dyslexia. I didn't know where I was going in school. Remember people's names, kept stuttering because I had dyslexia. And all these things happened in my life, like these perceived negative things that happened in my life, was primarily because I found simple things difficult. And because of that, I realised I wouldn't be where I am standing there in that cold field, happy and motivated by my life, if I didn't have dyslexia. So if I didn't have dyslexia, I would be able to read normal, I'd be able to write normal, I wouldn't have all the same challenges, and therefore I'd be on a normal trajectory of life. And I would not want to be on a normal trajectory of life, because life, I see it in terms of, isn't that good? Because people just go, get a degree, go jobs, go work, and just live their life instead of maximising every single second, every single hour of it to the best emotion, to the best, happiest feeling ever. So once I realised that day, I woke up every single day knowing that dyslexia is a gift, knowing that it's a gift in my life, and I wouldn't be where I am without it. And that's what the definition, I believe, of realising that your dyslexia is a gift, is realising that ultimately your dyslexia makes you who you are, and you have to love yourself. And if you love yourself, you have to love dyslexia. Because if you don't love yourself, you physically can't love your dyslexia or your so-called disability. Because if you don't love yourself, that's the first problem. That's the first challenge you have to do. Because loving yourself it's down to appreciating the small things. It's down to you working on yourself and realising that you are enough, that you can do it. Because one of the things I believed for years and years and years and years is that I wasn't enough. And saying that now, honestly, makes me feel like emotion in the back of my neck. Because one of the reasons also I got obsessed with improving myself was because at an early age I was never enough. Reading and writing, I was never good enough. Even my dyslexia score was the lowest in the class, and I had the impression that I was never enough. I always had to improve, and I just kept on using that, kept on saying that to myself. Always try to improve, always try to get better, until I realised I am enough. I am enough. I'm saying this to you now, is that if you don't love yourself, just realise you are enough. It sounds cheesy, it sounds fake, it sounds all positive thinking, but just think about it, saying you are enough. You don't have to be amazing. You don't have to learn all these things and be articulate or have all these degrees to do what you want. You are enough. And because you're enough, you can do whatever you want to do. So just realise you are enough to love yourself. And realise to love yourself, you have to be enough. Be the person you want to be, and let's be enough. Because I know who I'm striving to be is different than who I am now, but I am enough who I am now, and I'm happy with who I am now. But it doesn't mean I can't grow to the next level. Same for you. Be happy with where you are now. Be happy with everything in life you've gone through. Because if you've got dyslexia, if you've got any other so-called learning disability, you've been through a hell and back. You've been through a lot, and because you've been through a lot and you survived this so far, and you became this person who you are now, watching this video because you want to improve, because you want to learn, you are enough. You are good enough. You have come far. Stop being so hard on yourself, and then once you start loving yourself, realise you have to love your so-called disability, or you have to love your dyslexia. Because once you realise that you didn't get here despite it, you got here because of it, that's when it turns into a gift. And now when I'm doing events, there's two ways you can do this. The first way is find out why your life is different than everyone else. Exactly like I did, the same tool what I use, finding out why my life is such a gift. Find out why your life is such a gift. Ask yourself, why is your life so much more different than other people say that you wouldn't want to have their lives? Or you just sort of ask yourself, why is your life so much more different than your friends or some people around you that you think you're a big difference with? Not massive difference, but you know what I mean? Just a little difference, and then you might say, oh, it's because I did this, or I did this, or they learnt this, or I got interested in this. But why did you get interested in that? And then say if you got interested in art, or you know what I mean, art, or I can't remember, I can think of it, the mechanics or architecture, or one of these visual things, and then or entrepreneurs. Why did you get into that? And maybe because you had a passion from early on, and can see things differently, or you could be able to work things out differently than everyone else. Well, why can you work things out differently than everyone else? Why can you see things differently? And it's ultimately because you've got dyslexia. because they see things differently. Because if your life is where you are now because of something different going on here, chances are if you're watching this, you've got dyslexia. It's that. It is your dyslexia. It's nothing else. It's your dyslexia because it wires you differently. But you don't need a special person to look at your brain and go, yes, this is because you're dyslexia. No, just say it's your dyslexia and think about it. Because I blame my dyslexia on my sometimes stuttering, which I don't do much more. But sometimes can't remember people's names, places, all this and this and this and this. I blame my dyslexia for that. But it doesn't mean that my dyslexia is a negative. I just use all that. It's simpler for me. Do the same for yourself. Blame your dyslexia for all the great things in your life. That's weird. That's different in you. Blame your dyslexia for that. And then use it positively. And then also, if you're going to, I've heard this from Tony Robbins and a couple other people, if you're going to blame intelligently. Don't blame people for the negative, you better blame them for the positive as well. Don't just blame your dyslexia for the fact you can't read and write properly. No, blame your dyslexia for your intelligence. Blame your dyslexia for the fact that you can think outside the box more. Blame your dyslexia for your hunger and your drive and your grit to keep going, even though it's hard, even though it's tough. Blame your dyslexia for it. Because blame your dyslexia for the positive stuff, or the positive weird stuff that's in your life, as well as all the negative stuff. You have to blame it equally. And be careful when you blame. Don't say, oh, I'm stupid because I get dyslexia. No, you're not stupid. That's just a perception of yourself. Blame it as in you find it hard to read and write. Not that you can't improve it, but you find it hard to. Blame intelligently and accurately. Because when you blaming is just a voice you say to yourself, or the reason why you say you can't do something, that's blaming. And when you blame, look at it. Don't say I can't, because that's limited use. Just say I find it hard to. I'll be honest with yourself. Don't limit yourself, because what's your language? Because your language determines how you feel, and how you feel determines your actions. Be careful the language you can use. We can go to some other video, but be careful the language you use and realise that dyslexia is a gift. So, coming to the end of this video now, I want to set a challenge for you. I want to challenge you for something. Challenge you to really realise and get it deep in your heart and really realise that dyslexia is a gift. And if you've watched this video like the whole way through and thinking, oh, he's kind of right, but yeah, I'm still 14 and I hate school and I hate this and dyslexia is rubbish and I've got no experiences and I don't like myself. And I know you say these things, they're about thinking positive or this is a 38 challenge. At the moment, things are hard. I'm not enough questions about do these questions and all of that. All I have to say to you is that try this. Try the 30-day challenge. 3 questions I want you to ask yourself once every single day. First thing when you get up, ask and answer these questions and write them down. And once you do it for 30 days, comment, message me, let me know how it goes. Because I promise you, if you do this and if you ask questions with certainty, if you fully ask these questions and you're going to write down an actual answer, then within 30 days you'll get answers and you'll feel it in here instead of in here. So the questions are 3 questions. Why is your life so much more different because you have dyslexia? Why is your life so much more different because you have dyslexia? Question 2. What can you do that other people can't do? Because let me look at this camera. What can you do that other people can't do because you're dyslexia? What can you do that other people can't do because you're dyslexia? And number 3, ultimately, why is dyslexia a gift in your life? Ultimately, why is the dyslexia a gift in your life? 3 questions. Let me say it again. Why is your life so much more different because you've got dyslexia? What can you do that other people can't do because you've got dyslexia? And finally, why is your life so much more why is